Hello, my name is Lana Pena and I chose to do my director presentation based on Sofia Coppola. This is a quote from her. "I had a teacher when I was in college and he was the first person who liked my photos and said, 'The way you look at girls is your own way of seeing.' He was the first person who really gave me the confidence to try something." I chose that quote because I think that what he said about the way that she looks at girls is very accurate for this presentation, because I really do enjoy Coppola's films because of how she portrays girls and women in her film. Sofia Carmina Coppola is the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola, who is actually the director of the first Godfather movie, and he directed the second Godfather and the third Godfather. She was born in 1997 in New York, and she received negative reviews when she was in her father's film because they claimed that she was a bad actress and it just hurt the flow of the film. So she stopped acting, but she did continue to study at the California Institute of Arts, and when she released her first film, The Virgin Suicides, it was an art house and commercial success. She also did release Lost in Translation, which won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. So as I said before, I chose to present Coppola because I really appreciate the way that she portrays women in her films. I think that she shows their true struggles in a way that isn't over-romanticized or over-sexualized. She is able to show their struggles in a way where audience can sympathize with them, such as in Priscilla, where it tells the story of Priscilla Presley being the young wife of Elvis Presley and just the stuff that she had to deal with while she was his wife. Here's a closer up of the slideshow. So Sofia Coppola's first film is called The Virgin Suicides, and is about 5 teenage sisters growing up in the 1970s in the suburbs, and it shows the struggle and the feeling of loneliness and entrapment and how it ultimately led them to commit suicide. It is also partly narrated by a group of boys who continue to obsess with them, not because they love them, but they're obsessed with the idea of them, even after their death. The quote that I chose to use from this film is, "We knew that the girls were really women in disguise, that they understood love and even death, and that our job was merely to create the noise that seemed to fascinate them. We knew that they knew everything about us and that we couldn't fathom them at all." The next film that I chose to include is called Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette is about the historical French figure and her story through her own eyes. The film highlights Marie Antoinette's youthfulness and teenage mind, along with her yearning for love and attention as she tries to fit into the royal life. The film incorporates modern rock and pop music and hints of modern language, while still sticking to the beautiful fashions and architectures of the mid to late 1700s. And fun fact about this film, in one of the scenes, they actually included a pair of Converse Chuck Taylors when they're shooting kind of shooting an overview of all of Marie Antoinette's shoes. Some people, for some reason, think that that was a mistake, but I think it's pretty obvious to tell that Coppola chose to incorporate that on purpose, just as a little ode to modern society. The third film that I chose to include is called Priscilla, and it is actually my favorite film of Coppola's. Sofia Coppola actually partnered with Priscilla Presley, and she took a lot of what Priscilla Presley set to heart, and she listened to Priscilla's story and put it into a film. The film tells the story of how Priscilla met Elvis and what their relationship was truly like according to Priscilla. The grooming, love, celebrity lifestyle, abuse, and goodbyes that Priscilla had to face are apparent in this wonderfully executed film. Also, side note, I would like to add how I really appreciate the use of colors and aesthetics in this film, and just how everything really flows together. And I also love Jacob Elordi's performance as Elvis in this movie as well. So, being the daughter of a very famous movie director from a very famous movie such as The Godfather, it's obvious to assume that Coppola does get a lot of criticism, and she is often labeled as a nepotism baby. And people credit her success due to her father's success. But I think just because she had an upper hand financially and she had connections in industry, it does not automatically discredit her success as a director and her talent as a director. I believe Coppola has proven herself as a director, and she has used her platform to discuss real issues. Sofia Coppola has also been criticized for only making films based off of wealthy white women's problems. And she's also been criticized because she hasn't made a movie yet where a person of color is the main character in the story. I would like to think that Sofia Coppola doesn't do this on purpose. Really, she's just writing what she knows, and she's writing about historical figures such as Priscilla Presley or Marie Antoinette because they spark her interest. However, there is something that I do disagree on what Sofia Coppola did. In The Beguiled, the movie is based off of a book, and one of the characters in the book is a black woman. But in the film version, Sofia Coppola had Elle Fanning, which is a white woman, play that character. I believe that Sofia Coppola could have just stuck with a black person to play that role. A lot of people felt like she should have stuck with a black person because they felt like there was something missing in the movie, and it takes place in a time period where racism against black people was very apparent, and people believed that there was something that they were missing in the movie, like a hidden secret or something, because they didn't understand why Elle Fanning's character was being outcasted. But really the truth is because the original character is black. So this piece of criticism is actually fairly relevant as it came out about last year when the Priscilla movie came out. There was a news story about how Lisa Marie Presley, before she died, really did not want the movie Priscilla to come out because she believed that it portrayed her father, Elvis Presley, in a negative light. And she pleaded with her mother, Priscilla Presley, to not have the movie done, and she even asked Sofia Coppola to change some things about it. Lisa Marie Presley did not want this movie to come out because she felt like it would bring shame upon her family and upon her father, and she just wanted to protect her children from any negativeness. There's actually a scene that really gives me chills in the Priscilla movie, and it's when Elvis throws a chair at Priscilla Presley. I think the movie just kind of highlights how Elvis Presley was abusive, but to this day Priscilla Presley still claims that she was not groomed by Elvis and that she truly loved him. But she was 14 years old when Elvis started courting her. So I would say that it could be up to your own interpretation or your own viewing of it. But morally, it's not that right, because even if they didn't have any connections until they were married when she was in her 20s, it is still very weird that they slept in the same bed together as she was still a minor. And that is my presentation on Sofia Coppola. I really do appreciate her as a director. I think she is a very wonderful director, and I'm excited to see any new films that she produces and directs. Thank you very much for viewing my presentation.